The Department of Special Corrections would like me to issue a formal apology for taking an inanimate carbon rod to the boom chute tube in Blind Stalker number 1. I promise that I paid dearly for this mistake, but thankfully my healthcare will cover clavicle replacement. Also, I've been assured that the boom chute tube has now been repaired and oh sweet Jesus! Zorch is a game that is currently on Steam for $5. I want you to remember that. After it dropped in June, someone added me on Twitter about this game and I'm like, hey, it's $5. If it sucks, I don't have to make a video on it. And since nobody's heard of it, when I say Zorch, people think of the act of teleporting phlegmoids back to their home dimension and totally not killing them because Chex Quest is a kid's game. But you could be teleporting them to the upper atmosphere of their planet for all you know. Zorch, or as the title screen calls it, Zorch Maximum Against the Alien Brainsuckers, is a game by Mutant Leg, and I think can be best described as an ode to PC and console shooters from the late 90s and early 2000s. I love it. It might be my favorite indie FPS release of the year. This game costs a third of a Perilous Warp, and you get like 2 Perilous Warps out of it. Like you see this on the Steam store and see the price tag and you expect trash. You'd expect baby's first FPS game with Unity assets. The story is simple, as it always is with games like this. Zorch is a single-player FPS game in a sci-fi setting with horror and comedy elements. Zorch Maximum is a professional slacker who finds herself captured by aliens after falling for their fake holiday scheme. Now she must escape their planet or become a light snack. Lucky for her, there is a mysterious voice helping her along the way. Yeah, that description may be a little grammatically messed up. Who am I to judge? I can barely speak English and routinely mock British people for putting too many U's in words. I'm an American, I speak hamburger English. The manual inside the Steam directory gives us a little more. Zorch Maximum, professional slacker, who holds the record of winning the most Worst Engineer of the Year awards. But I digress. One day she finds an advertisement for a holiday resort and decides she needs a vacation. Despite the suspicious look of the tourist bus and other patrons and ignoring all warnings about the increasing number of missing people, she sets off on holiday. Next thing she knows, she wakes up in a cell. Her luggage is missing and there's a mysterious voice talking in her head. We get a breakdown on some of the characters in the game, but this isn't even a quarter of the enemies that actually show up in Zorch. There's like 30 different enemy types. I'm a little curious about the system requirements listed. Windows XP 32-bit, 1 GB of RAM and a 1.5 GHz CPU. Recommended anything better. Is that a single core CPU? This isn't Unity or Unreal. This is a custom engine made for this game, and that only makes what I'm about to show you even more impressive. I had no expectations for this game, so when I started up and it's given me helpful hints, a consistent art style, and movement as smooth as Keith David's voice, soon the game is teaching me how to kick, jump kick, and kick slide, all of which feel great to do. It doesn't tell you that you can get a little more height from a jump when you kick off the ground. I pick up a wrench that has a secondary fire that lets you toss it like a boomerang. This is the kind of game you're getting into. And then tossable dynamite bundles. Not quite as good as Blood, but it also doesn't need to be. And then a shotgun, a pump-action double barrel that lets you fire one or both barrels at a time. And wait, is that a fucking dinosaur? Yeah, it is. Just go with it. The basic enemies, called pudding people in the manual, come in different shapes, sizes, and all are armed with different weapons. From plasma guns to shotguns to rocket launchers. They don't just walk at you and shoot either. My joy when finding this out was immeasurable. It's not a retro throwback FPS that's just Doom, it's got character. This chain gunner looks kinda doomy, but if one enemy in your whole... Okay, if 2 enemies in your whole roster remind me of Doom in your throwback shooter, that's a good sign. The pudding men are actually steel skeletons covered in purple goo, and your job is to shoot the purple goo off them. They don't die immediately and will get back up unless you shoot them enough or get a headshot on them. You can do that with the shotgun, but you can also, and much more easily, do it with the game's cute little submachine gun. It's also your sniper weapon, with the zoom in and out function somewhat awkwardly mapped to the forward and backward controls. That's like my only gripe with this game. This was my Rosetta Stone when placing this game into the era it's made as a throwback to. That headshot reminded me most of the kind you'd get in MDK, except it's from a rapid fire weapon. A very rapid fire weapon. It's light, but that doesn't mean it's unsatisfying. While the levels have key doors, they also have force fields that can be deactivated by destroying a generator. Not every level has a generator, but a lot do, and they can be destroyed to open up completely optional, non-essential areas in the levels. Secrets are everywhere and give you new weapons or overcharge your health to some ridiculous number like 800. Enemy variety, even in the first level, is impressive. You've got your pudding people, dinosaurs, robots, these things, called floaters, who will be a problem throughout the game because they're tough, fire homing explosives, teleport, and revive enemies. When I have some better weapons, they won't be a problem. Or if I paint myself invisible. For a short time. Yeah, that's cool. I finished the first level and a mysterious voice says, "Well done, human," amidst some chaos happening behind glass. The level exits in what can only be a Duke 3D homage, but also with its own cool twist because this game is thoughtfully designed, and you know what? I love it. The game's early 2000s bona fides are demonstrated not just by the graphics, but the simple physics you get. And with simple physics, you have to have a basketball court where you can make a shot and open a secret. This is as high as I got it, but that doesn't have too much of an effect on the game's difficulty, which is tough but fair on the higher skill I tried it on. See, right here, time for rockets. It's a grenade launcher, but the secondary shoots rockets, and because the enemies are so mobile, they can avoid rockets, and that's fun too. I have a question for you kids. Should the primary fire of a gun that shoots grenades and rockets be grenades or rockets? Because I would have put the grenades as secondary like in Unreal. This could be a contentious issue because some games do it in different ways. It's like the argument between is A jump and B run for platformers, or do you eat hot dogs the long way or the wide way?
Vote now. Your choices matter. Press the Y button on your yacht controller to vote long, or press the U button on your yacht controller to vote for wide.
The votes are in. We have 0 votes for long and 5 votes for wide, which is determined that people watching this on an Ouya are disgusting. You'd think that it's a weird time to give the player a pistol, but this pistol shoots balls of energy with a subtle homing effect, and the secondary fire puts a shield down. I didn't find it that useful, but it's nice to have. In the second level, while I blasted through a burger joint, because this is that kind of game too, I climbed to the top of the building and found a flamethrower. You know how this goes. You pick up a flamethrower and you roll the dice. Is this going to be good? Is it going to be underpowered? Because if it acted like a real flamethrower, it would be OP. It's OP against lower enemies, and the secondary fire is just... Ah, that's nice. So much for teleportation. That's the kind of game Zorch is. It wants you to have fun. Look, wall graffiti telling me to use my flashlight, but also a secret right here with night vision. With this charming little hand-scribbled battery icon up here and... What? I guess we're leaving the level upside down. Awesome, very cool, love this game. The moment I knew that Zorch was something special came in the third level, where I'm in a canyon just zorching around and I see these little spider robots that act like mines. But you can distract them with sports balls. That's the kind of harebrained absurdity that sets this game apart. It's not all like this, but it's that secret ingredient, that special sauce. They will explode though if you get too close. Watch. There are 20 levels in Zorch, 5 of them are boss levels, and then 15 regular ones. As you progress, you meet more and more enemies. Sometimes they're much tougher, like this one here, with all the electric nonsense going on. It's called a bloop. They're gonna be easy to deal with later, but for right now... I don't know how I didn't notice this before, but this Quake 2-like skybox has giant Acme magnets in it, which I assume is how the alien brain suckers trap ships. I love it, it's perfect. We don't have enough games that run on Looney Tunes logic. When I said it would be easier to deal with the bloops later on, well, later is the next level, when you find a weird gun. The primary fire is lightning and the secondary fire is big lightning. I don't know how else to describe it. See, the bloops let out a high-pitched whine when they're about to die. And the enemies of this game also have the strangest quirks that you'd expect from like a non-GoldenEye Rare game, or like something from Shiny Entertainment. This game launches the cow, kids. I can't help but mention the bees. They may not technically count as bees since they're alien, but they come from a hive that you can shoot off of the wall, or a humanoid creature who has a hive stuck on its head. The Trash Emperor is aware of your presence. He might have set you a trap. Might have. Listen, disembodied voice that's telepathically communicating through wavy green text. I appreciate the warning, but I think I can deal with traps. Wait, no, this isn't a trap, this is a sewer! It sometimes feels like a public pool, like when I go into the bathroom. This mirror seems somewhat broken. Yeah, but it beats mirrors in most modern games simply by existing. By this point in the game, I have all the weapons. I've seen a lot of the enemies, but not all of them. Not by a long shot. I spend a couple minutes blasting the Episode 3 boss, a very Quake 2-looking robot monstrosity. I was concerned that Zorch was going to be too easy after this boss fight. Before I entered Episode 4... This might be my favorite arena of this game. The way the enemies jump around, the traps you can activate, the challenge, the way Zorch lets you move. And this is the whole level. I don't know how you ended up here, but I advise you to be careful and very, very discreet. Nah. No, this is fine. We'll be fine. Time to paint myself invisible, throw on night vision, and book it. Much to my surprise, electrocuting an invisible enemy makes them a lot more visible. This was another short level, but that's not a complaint. Having a level not overstay its welcome is fine. We get a little more plot stuff in one sentence at the beginning of the next level. Captured ships get stripped bare to reach the goodies inside. I want some goodies. Can I get some of the goodies? I wasn't aware that if you take a long fall, you will take damage. 10 points of damage. When you often have more than 200 health. 200 is the baseline in this game. As for goodies, a ton of health and ammo, but also a rarely seen turret section. Yeah, just use the plasma turret. It's across from the soda machine. Good on the game for having this giant room and filling it with flying enemies instead of, just having a room where you jump around and do nothing. Is that how far my standards have fallen, that a game giving me something to shoot is noteworthy? This level is also fairly short. You only need to grab one key to exit, but the way it's designed incentivizes you to kill everything in here before returning to the top to the red door, and oh god, it's the hive head again! How many people keep sticking their heads Winnie the Pooh style into these nests? These aren't honeybees. No, I mean he was going after honey, not that he wasn't wearing pants. Huh. Infestation detected. Door closed. Looks like the only one to me. Oh. If my math is correct, I'm gonna be shooting these things literally forever. Okay, obviously they don't multiply forever. In case they try, I think fire would work well enough. No? Okay, how about dynamite? I haven't been using it very much, so I have a pretty huge stock of dynamite bundles in my inventory. When does it stop? Really? Are you sure? I was thinking that I would be okay with the rest of the game being comprised of little arenas as long as they weren't like the last one. Nope, episode 5, yes, we've gone to episode 5, a rarity among releases. We usually only see episodes 1 to 3, up to 4 if we're lucky. And they don't even do that anymore. Nobody besides throwback shooters does, oh fuck, not again! All that to destroy the generator. This berserk power-up helps with the enemies that spawn in my way, and soon I'm back on the train and ready to escape from these alien bloodsuckers. Brain suckers, god damn it. And unlike a lot of other shooters, you can ride on top of the train. Love it. Custom engine, everybody. Good shit. And it takes us to another train. In true Boom Shoot fashion, the next level opens after you crash that train. We didn't see it, but the thought is nice. Oh, you see this? We missed the train platform by like 10 feet. This, I think, is the human colony talked about before in this game. It's city-like, interesting, fun to shoot through. I think the rest of the humans are dead and we're left with one lazy technician. Holy fuck, Lister has to battle this whole alien race. The only thing separating us from the final boss of this game is a big cool factory level. This is the kind of level design that we used to have before everything was streamlined. It didn't matter that a giant conveyor belt was impractical, it was fun. The only game in recent memory that embraced giant conveyor belts was Titanfall 2. And that game had one of the best single-player campaigns of the 2010s, I'm just saying. But you get the idea. It's non-linear, has good verticality, fun encounters, whatever this last room is. Oh, and one guy is stuck in the wall, which might have been patched out by the time this video comes out. The final boss goes down in under 2 minutes after being struck by lightning several times. It's It's like the Brain Sucker Queen or whatever, I tell you, but the cutscene that follows says,
After defeating the Brain Sucker's leader, or whatever that thing was,
yeah, whatever that thing was. I didn't take samples.
Zorch ends up getting lost in the deep underground tunnels. She wanders for hours aimlessly. Finally, she finds herself in a curious chamber.
Zorch finds the alien that's been communicating with her throughout the game. It turns out that the aliens we've been fighting this whole time were stranded explorers who went insane and became addicted to human brain chemicals. I get it. Love me some dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, oxytocin, all great. Don't blame the brain suckers one bit. As the alien creature that's been helping us this whole time tells the story, Zorch falls asleep and wakes up on a spaceship leaving the planet. There was only one thing left to do. Leave a bad review of the planet with her cubic, low-poly fingers. And that's the end. Pretty fun game. Only took me 3.5 hours on a first playthrough, but I paid $5 for this game. I've had to play a lot of shitty FPS throwback games off Steam, and they all cost more than Zorch, and they're nowhere near as good. And when something like this comes along and it stays in my brain for months while I'm juggling all the other video topics I'm doing, like this beautiful little game came out of nowhere, and it's one of my favorite releases of the year. It's a breath of fresh air, made with love and talent, and it's not just fucking Doom again. Except those chain gunners. They're kinda Doom. But you can snipe their heads into purple mist. It's pure, uncut boom shoot. Go play this.